My name is Emily Rose, and this is my persuasive speech for USD Speech 101. If you don't think that media affects young teens, then you're wrong. Young teens are not mature enough to be playing the violent video games that they are playing. With my speech, I'm going to talk to you as to why teens should not be able to buy or play the video games that they play and the effects that it has on them. And I'm also going to give you tips on how to buy video games that will benefit your teens so that they can still play video games. I'm going to first talk about aggression. The violence in video games is resulting in teens becoming more aggressive. Researchers Linder and Walsh state teens that play violent video games for extended periods of time are more aggressive and have more confrontations with teachers and their peers, and they also will have a decrease in their academic achievements. With that, some people would say then that violent movies would also have a negative effect on teens. That's not proven to be true. The reason is because when a teen plays the video games, they become the character, and they are the ones that are committing those acts by killing or shooting someone. And with that, it becomes a problem because when they're doing those acts, those violent acts, they're being rewarded in the game by getting a new life or unlocking a new weapon in the game. And with that, that is problematic because that's an effective way of teaching. When you do something, you're either rewarded or you're punished for it. And in the game, they're committing violent acts that they should be punished for, yet they're being rewarded for it. So with that being said, aggression is the biggest problem with these games because these teens are becoming more aggressive the more that they play these games. Another problem that we see is they begin to socially isolate themselves. An overdependence with the game leads to social isolation. And the reason this happens is because when the teens play the video games, it's just the game and the player. They're not around peers or anyone else. And the more time that they spend playing this game, or the more that they are by themselves and they don't feel the need to be around peers. And so when they are, they become aggressive with them because they're not around them enough to tolerate it and know how to handle that anger. And so that leads to them just not wanting to, and they get comfortable in that environment, and they just start to isolate themselves. And another research that was done is by the Indiana University School of Medicine Research. And they did a research where they had a group of students play games, and they did brain scans while they were playing the game. And the brain scans showed an increase in emotional arousal and a decrease in self-control and attention. And they had 44 students, and they broke them up into two groups. And they had one group play the video game Need for Speed, which is an adrenaline race car game with no violence. And then they had the other group play the game called Medal of Honor, which is a war battle game. And the Medal of Honor had a negative effect on the brain, and the Need for Speed did not. And they don't know, it hasn't been proven that these are a long-term effect, but with showing that they played this game for a half hour, and in just that little time it had a negative effect on the brain, so that just goes to show that the more you would play it, the more of an effect it would have on your brain. So not only do these games make the teenagers isolate themselves, it once again is having a negative effect on the brains. Since I have pointed out the negative facts about why these violent video games are not good, I'm going to give you some tips on how to help buy video games that are beneficial for your teenagers. The first one would be looking at the rating and the symbol on the games. They have the different ratings for the different age group, so buy the appropriate one for the age of the teen. And if the cover has violence or profanity on it, you're more than likely going to see that in the game. Third, you look for games that have group activity and strategy, because that's good for the game, and then that gets them involved with having other friends over to play and being social. Avoid buying games that have first-person shooting, which meaning that the player, or so the teen would be the one that's doing the killing and the shooting. And do not put the game system in the room, because that is allowing them to isolate themselves. And along with that, limit the time play. Don't let them play for hours. Try and limit it and give them an hour. And if you put the game in a room, in a living room, a common area, that allows you to monitor what they're doing and the time even better. Another suggestion would be to play board games, because that allows them to be competitive and work their brain in ways just as they would to play a video game, and it allows them to socialize, and it's just beneficial for everyone. So those are the 6 steps, rules to buying the best game for your teen and having it be beneficial towards them instead of being negative. All in all, I have pointed out negatives as to why these violent video games are not good for teenagers, and I have stated research as to back it up as to why they are not, and I have given you ways to help buy video games that are beneficial for your teen. So one more time, I'm going to state my reasons. The first one being that it causes them to be very aggressive with their teens and their teachers. They act out and they have a decline in their academic achievements. They are killing people in these games and they're getting rewarded for it by getting a new life, a new weapon, when they should be punished for it. And they're isolating themselves from everyone around them by being focused in on this game and so involved in it. Lastly, the one thing that I can encourage you as a parent to do is to monitor the games that your teen is playing and to monitor the time that they play. Thank you.